Hey, herpers, herpetologists, and everyone else. So, this big, scary, bad reptile right here that I'm holding very dangerously is a western rat snake, otherwise known as the black rat snake. We have a few subspecies here in Florida. We have the yellow rat snake, the gray rat snake, and the black rat snake. So, they're boreal, which basically means they like being high up. They like climbing trees, buildings. In fact, an adult, which could measure between 5 and 6 feet on average, one of the largest specimen ever found was about 8.5 feet, are capable of climbing a large trunk of say an oak tree or a pine tree or a palm tree with ease. They're just super strong, resilient snakes, really hardy. Anywhere that's warm, they could pretty much thrive in. Whether it's dry, rocky areas, wet farmlands, although they do prefer heavily wooded areas such as oak forest, pine forest, thick shrubbed, shrubbed areas. Sorry about that. um, so snakes brumate, which is the equivalent of hibernation for mammals. A lot of reptiles do this, especially in places that obviously get cold. So they'll hunker down in a gopher tortoise burrow or an abandoned foxhole or rabbit hole or just a little dark, place that's out of the way and away from traffic, away from noise and predators. So these snakes have been known to brumate with copperhead, copperhead snakes or timber rattlesnakes, which are venomous. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I've also heard stories of eastern diamondback rattlesnakes hunkering up in a gopher hole, a gopher tortoise hole, and riding the gopher tortoise out of the hole. And I'm sure that's not super common, but I have heard that it's happened. So basically, this video, I'm just giving you a prime example of how not all reptiles are bad. In fact, I don't think that any reptile is bad, even the dangerous ones. I just think that we need to leave the dangerous ones alone if we don't know what we're doing and we're not a professional. So, our culture is designed to look at these animals, whether it's a snake, a lizard, an alligator. We're made to look at them like they're a bad thing, like they're a threat, like they're slimy and nasty and dangerous and deadly. But that's just not always the case. You see how calm this one's being. I mean, he's climbing me like I'm a tree, but I'm not a threat to him, and he sees that. He's aware of that. He knows that I'm not trying to hurt him, so naturally, he doesn't want to hurt me. So, you may have heard stories, oh, this cottonmouth, this water moccasin chased me in the creek. Um, and whether it was you that have that story or a friend or a loved one, I'm not necessarily calling them a liar. All I'm saying is that it could have been misinterpreted. So if you scare, say, a cottonmouth that's, on the bank of a creek or a river and you stumble on it, sometimes they're not expecting that and it spooks them and they'll shoot off in any which direction. It doesn't matter. They don't know exactly what's going on. So all they're trying to do is get away. And you do have that rare occasion where it may just so happen to shoot off towards the person that's telling the story. So that wasn't necessarily the snake trying to, you know, track down the person that spooked them or was messing with them. So that's pretty much the only other way that somebody would interpret a snake chasing them or attacking them, is if they spooked them and they happen to go the wrong direction, or if somebody corners them. Of course the snake is going to try to defend itself. That's just natural. I mean, imagine if you were just walking in Walmart and all of a sudden a 50-foot tall animal or human being came up and was poking at you and trying to mess with you. I mean, you would probably do just about anything to avoid contact with that person or animal. So you just have to think outside the box with these things. They're not out to get you. There's so many reasons that I can state why they are good. One being specifically this guy right here, a rat snake. Obviously, he can eat rodents. And if you think about it, rodents have been known to chew through electrical wires and cause house fires. So this little guy, big guy, will help avoid that happening. And the worst that can happen is you have the windows open during the winter or spring to air the house out, and the snake crawls into your house. It's not going to attack you. It's not going to attack your child unless it's cornered. And even if it does, it's harmless. It can cause maybe a couple little pinholes. You might see just an ever so slight amount of blood. So potentially this is not a bad animal, if you just look at it a certain way. Now, some would say that this snake is tolerating me. I might agree. I don't think it's necessarily enjoying this interaction. It may like the warmth that's radiating off of my body as a warm-blooded specimen. So, sorry, he's kind of acting weird, prying his mouth against me and making sure he's not trying to bite me. You can see he's rubbing and doing some weird stuff. Anyways, healthy snake. But if you want to move on to bigger lizards, which are, I think, much more intelligent than most snakes, my personal opinion is that they do enjoy interacting with humans. I've witnessed it firsthand. I've seen how they react to certain people in certain scenarios. And yeah, maybe a lot of it is because it thinks it'll be fed. But whether that's true or not, mine in particular don't always get fed. Because I don't know if I've stated in another video or not, but I don't like to have obese reptiles. I think it shortens their life. I think it's just not natural and it's not healthy. And I like to enjoy my reptiles as long as possible. So I like to try to keep them on the lean side, almost as if they're a very flourishing animal out in the wild. So if it was a super healthy wild specimen, that's what I want all of my animals to look like. Which I still have quite a few that I have to show you. And I'll have some surprise guests and interesting videos coming up soon, so I hope you stay tuned. So like I was saying though, with the big monitors and lizards, I've literally seen these carnivorous, essentially dinosaurs, modern dinosaurs. You will open the door to the enclosure and they will literally crawl out onto you, and they'll be smelling you with their tongue and, you know, trying to recognize your scent. But it's not always that easy. A lot of the times, you know, a big lizard won't trust you and you have to gain its trust. So you can't just buy a monitor lizard, for instance, or a tegu or an iguana and just throw it whatever enclosure and just think that you could just grab it when you want and pet it and enjoy it. It does, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to build their trust for years. I've had to do that. But it's so worth it, because when you go from your first interaction with that animal, you know, trying to lunge at your hand and try and eat you because they think you're food, even though they obviously couldn't physically do that. Um, they 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 go from that to actually trusting you and knowing that you're not a threat, just like the snake is doing right now. And they will literally crawl up your body if you trust them that much, which I'm not suggesting that you should always do that. I just take certain risks personally, and if it's not deadly, then I'm more likely to take that kind of risk. So, you know, I've seen that transition from a little devil lizard turn into a puppy dog tame lizard, which is just super thrilling and satisfying. And I'll give you all a prime example of that soon when it warms up and I start working with my lizards more soon. So that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed looking at this rat snake. You can see he's all coiled up around me, enjoying my warmth. Get one more little close up of his head so you all can enjoy him. But that's it for this video. I hope if you enjoyed it, you would subscribe if you haven't already, or like the video. Feel free to share it. Put my name out there if you want. All you're doing by doing that is presenting me with more opportunities in the future. So the more support I get from you guys, the better. And the better videos that I'm going to come out with for you guys. So I hope you enjoy. Again, please subscribe if you haven't. Like, share, comment. If you have any questions, I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. And if I can't come up with an accurate answer, I'm not just going to say anything. So I will get an answer for you one way or another, because I do have resources. I'm fortunate enough to have good mentors in my life. So we'll say goodbye to this friendly black rat snake, and signing out. Nate's Nature Notes.